So, what does a regime do when there's an election coming up and the incumbent is extremely unpopular and is actually physically and mentally incapable of campaigning for that election? Well, I guess a good place to start would be that you politically persecute your main political rival who's currently beating you in most of the polls. And I guess from there, you just fan out into just a general campaign of intimidation against all the rest of your political enemies. Then maybe you'd start to see stuff like this. And of course, this is framed exactly the way you would expect from a mainstream news outlet. Fired founder of right-wing org Project Veritas is under investigation in New York. The fired founder of conservative nonprofit Project Veritas is under investigation by a suburban New York prosecutor's office for allegedly mistreating workers and misspending organization funds. Or maybe it's because he has this pesky habit of looking into things regarding elections. And of course, his investigations have also included a pharmaceutical company, Pfizer, which that probably didn't go over well either. But anyway, it looks like they plan to keep him tied up for the next year at least. And now we hear about SpaceX being sued by the Justice Department over alleged asylee refugee discrimination. The suit alleges companies selectively rejected qualified asylees and refugees. So Elon Musk didn't hire enough refugees at SpaceX. This sounds completely insane. But why wouldn't they like Elon Musk? Well, he did take over Twitter, which up until that point had just been an extension of the security state, as we saw with the Twitter files. And he also started making a lot of very, I'm sure to them, unpleasant noise about free speech, even though since then he's hired Linda Yaccarino and we've got this lawful but awful nonsense. So it certainly seems like Twitter is backsliding a bit. But I don't think that really matters because once you've offended them, I think they have a very long memory. Here's Biden on November 9th, 2022.
Mr. President, do you think Elon Musk is a threat to U.S. national security? And should the U.S., and with the tools you have, investigate his joint acquisition of Twitter with foreign governments, which include the Saudis?
I think that Elon Musk's cooperation and/or technical relationships with other countries is worthy of being looked at. Whether or not he is doing anything inappropriate, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that it's worth being looked at. But that's all I'll say. There's a lot of ways.
I don't know. That sounds a little bit to me like, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. And considering everything we've seen from the Biden regime and his Department of Justice, I think that's a pretty fair interpretation. So according to the Justice Department, they said, quote, the lawsuit alleges that from at least September 2018 to May 2022, SpaceX routinely discouraged asylees and refugees from applying and refused to hire or consider them because of their citizenship status, in violation of the Immigration and Nationality Act. In job postings and public statements over the years, SpaceX wrongly claimed that under federal regulations known as export control laws, SpaceX could hire only U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents, sometimes referred to as green card holders, the DOJ added. So what does this say here? It says, so if I let a non-U.S. citizen see our rocket hardware, I go to ITAR jail. But if I don't hire a non-U.S. citizen, I get sued by DOJ. Got it. To which Elon Musk himself replied. He said, exactly. SpaceX was told repeatedly that hiring anyone who was not a permanent resident of the United States would violate international arms trafficking law, which would be a criminal offense. We couldn't even hire Canadian citizens, despite Canada being a part of NORAD. This is yet another case of weaponization of the DOJ for political purposes. And how about this? The DOJ is suing Elon Musk and SpaceX for focusing their hiring on U.S. citizens and permanent residents. Do you know who else advertises that only U.S. citizens can apply for a job? The DOJ. Elon Musk replied, "The DOJ needs to sue themselves. I just can't. The irony is too much." He also tweeted, "The weaponization of government agencies needs to stop. This fundamentally undermines public faith in the justice system." And you know what? Maybe it's supposed to. Maybe it's a message that it doesn't matter what you do. If you disagree, if you publicly oppose us, we're going to come after you. We're going to create a catch-22 like this, where on one hand, it's illegal for you to hire these people, but on the other hand, it's illegal for you not to hire them. It kind of feels like an intentional message, doesn't it? Like, you can't win. Just go along with the flow. And maybe this is just an appetizer. Need we remind you of what we did to Biden's chief political rival, who happens to be leading him in the polls right now? Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.